of Fear is dead,
and you're watching Heavy New York.
Heavy New York!
What is up, everybody? It's Alex from Heavy New York. This is our first video interview in quite a while, thanks to a certain virus that shall not be named. But we are at Silver Chord Studios today, and we are here with my boy Skila of Fear is Dead. Great to see you again, man.
Great to see you.
Yep. It's so awesome to have you here. The new single is Assimilation, which is absolutely awesome.
Thank you.
Is this a representation of maybe what the whole new Fear is Dead is going to sound like, or is this just scratching the surface?
It's just scratching the surface. We were just digging in when we wrote that. You know, we had just gotten a whole new rhythm section, so we were exploring, we were playing with things. I was trying new types of vocals. You know, everybody had all this new inspiration, and, you know, it came together, and, you know, the stuff that we're doing now is a lot more evolved. It springboarded from that, but yeah, that was just the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Are you planning to maybe make a direct continuation of what Omnicidal was doing, or is this going to be like a new beginning for Fear is Dead in a way with the new rhythm section and everything?
I won't say it's a continuation of Omnicidal, but it's more a continuation of our evolution. Like, we keep just growing as musicians, as people, so it's you know, it's going to be a reflection of the times, that's for sure.
Definitely. You know, I've always admired your lyrics because you take inspiration that I think is very personal, but also you take political inspiration as well. Do you need music before you have lyrics written, or do you sometimes have lyrics or a concept in mind, and that could help determine the music for Fear is Dead?
A little bit of both, but for the most part, the guys are my muse. Dave's my muse. You know, Ish is my muse. You know, and now Tim. But you know, usually Dave writes something and that inspires the feel and the melody, but the times and what I'm going through inspire the content. Mm-hmm. You know, so he helps me shape it. You know, he'll provide the mood, and then I tap into whatever I'm going through that fits that mood.
I'd imagine that this has happened before. Have you ever had like the best lyrics ever written, but they're always like one syllable over or under like the arrangement of the songs?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm a lyricist, so it's easy to play with that. I find ways. I actually have songs that I haven't found music for because we just haven't touched on that yet. But, you know, it'll come along.
Yeah, you never know if the song you never touch could be a B-side and just be the biggest hit you guys ever had.
Yeah, I just had I recently stopped smoking weed for a little bit, and I'm a big pothead, so this is, you know, I won't say a new experience because I haven't been, you know, stoned my whole life, but, you know, I'm revisiting this, and I tend to dream a lot, and I've actually been having dreams where songs have been coming to me in my dreams, like melodies and lyrics and just concepts, and I wake up like barely getting enough sleep just to jot it down real quick and then try and get more sleep again.
Yeah. When it comes to like a lot of your lyricism, especially the songs that tackle more political subject matter like Miranda or Assimilation or something like that, I ask a lot of political bands is there kind of like research that goes involved to writing political music, or is there maybe any personal essence of your life that could influence the political music?
A little bit of everything, because if you keep your ears, you know, out for what's going on, if you're paying attention to what's going on, you can't help but be affected by it, you know? And I mean, especially these times, everything that's happening, you know, affects me directly, affects me personally, you know, it affects me socially. So I can't, you know, I can't not write about it. I have to. It's almost like therapy. I need to get it out of my system, because or else it just builds up.
Yeah. When it comes to like getting like when you feel that creative energy and you're ready to write, do you need to be in a certain place in a certain time in order to like start writing down the lyrics in a way?
No, not necessarily, but I noticed when I'm traveling, my mind wanders, and I come up with a lot of stuff. So usually I'll keep the track on my phone, you know, on my headphones, and I'm listening to it while I'm traveling, and then I see people, I see just things happening, and then it just starts coming together. But sometimes, you know, I'll just feel the urge, you know, and I'm at home, and I'm like, you know, let me go into the lab and just turn on the track, and I just zone out. Sometimes it comes to me while the guys are playing it, when rehearsal or whatever, or they're writing, and then I'm like, oh shit, and then I'll start like jotting stuff down.
Has there ever been a time where like you have the idea, like inspiration strikes at like the most inconvenient time?
Yeah, absolutely. Like when I'm sleeping.
Absolutely. That's got to be the worst. And I'd imagine, because you tackle political subject matter, but you also tackle personal subject matter. So it's fair to say that like everything inspires you in a way, right?
Yeah.
Like there's
anything that directly affects me is going to inspire me, and anything that affects people I love, people I care about, things I care about, it's going to affect it, and I'm going to write about it. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have to.
Yeah, and one thing I was curious about is there also room for Fear Is Dead's music to be open to interpretation as well, or do you try to engage the listener into what the music is about?
I try to be specific in what I say. There are songs that I guess you could say no main topic, and some things may be open to interpretation, or your own personal perspective, but I'm usually pretty specific about what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. And I love what you said, that like it's a continuation of your evolution, because as somebody who listens to Fear Is Dead, I know what would be off of like Morning Ritual, or what would be off of Eleutherophobia, or What Remains, etc. So like I think it's fair to say, while you have a sound that defines you guys, you do like to experiment musically as much as possible, right?
I mean, the more fun we have, we're starting to experiment, we'll start to try stuff, but I have to say a lot of it is very natural. A lot of the evolution is very natural. It's just growing.
Yeah, you don't try to enforce it.
Nah, why?
I have no idea.
I mean, we challenge ourselves, of course. Ish is very challenging, because he'll come up with some drums, and he'll come up with some crazy time signatures, and not even on purpose. He'll just play, and then he's like, yo, this just happens to be, blah, 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 and then we're like, really? Like, fuck. Like, we have this song called Morning Ritual. I can't remember exactly the time signature, but we bounced the drum track, and we sent it to Dave, and he didn't tell Dave what time signature it was, and Dave just heard it and wrote to it. Mm-hmm. And he ended up writing to a different time signature, but it just clicked.
You guys are a very rhythm-driven band, I gotta say. Like, especially like the way that like the different time signatures and the vibes in a song like Pretty Ugly, but then like a song like Tyranny, on the way like that speeds up and slows down. I feel like you guys, when it comes to rhythm, you guys are like mad scientists.
Yeah, that's also changed a lot. Like, because Carlos, our old drummer Carlos Crosell from Solemn Visions, they he has his own style and his own rhythm, his own way of doing things, and Ish is a little different. Ish is I won't say he's groovier, but he got his own groove. You know what I mean?
That's the best way of putting it.
And it takes us somewhere else. Totally takes us somewhere else. So I mean, as they've both had that in common, and they've both taken us in different directions. So it's great.
Mm-hmm. You ready for the most difficult question of the whole interview?
What's difficult? I don't know. I'd have to be let's see.
How do you know when a song is done?
Oh, we just feel it. That's actually not a difficult question at all.
It normally stumbles everybody.
We play it, and we keep playing it, and then we feel when it's done. We feel when it's done, or when it's like, yo, something that needs something. That needs something, and then we'll try and find what that something is. We'll play around with it, try different things to it, to see what that missing element might be. Mm-hmm.
Do you find it maybe like the longer that you're working on something, the harder it is to kind of maintain that creative energy in a way?
Well, that's the thing. I believe, and like when we work on something, I personally like don't like to force a song. If we come up with like a rough draft of something, and I feel it's hitting, like, yeah, that's it. Let's keep working on it. Yeah, but if it's something that we gotta beat it in the head, like we force it to work, we scrap it. I'll put it aside until maybe we'll feel it a couple months from now, and then we'll see where we should take it. But I don't like to force anything. Natural is the best way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like the music is very natural. You're very upfront with what you sing about. You're able to defend it and explain it, and I think that's great because I find that like for an artist, a lot of one thing that's really hard for an artist is explaining their work. I feel like you guys have no problem with that at all.
No, we're very conscious of what we're doing. It's inspired. We know what's inspiring us. I know what I want to say when I'm writing it. And I'm very critical about what I write, or at least I try to be, because it's a representation of me. It's going to go out there, and people are going to hear it. I just want to make sure what I'm putting out there is my best foot forward, the best representation of my best self.
And that brought me into my next question, because as somebody who's now seen Fear is Dead live more times, I think I've seen Fear is Dead more than you've seen Fear is Dead at this
point. I definitely have, because it's hard to see myself.
But like, do you put a similar energy into your live shows as you do when you're songwriting, or is playing live and songwriting almost like a separate art altogether?
Well, the passion that is injected into the writing, I try to display that when I'm performing it. So if I feel a certain energy or a certain emotion when I'm writing it, that's what I convey when I'm performing it. It's actually comes out more so when we're performing it. It's a more freer expression, and I find what's not so much of a challenge, but a bit of a challenge is capturing that expression from a live performance and putting it on a recording. I noticed a lot of artists have difficulty with that, and that's a challenge, I think, for everybody. But that feeling that you give the audience when you're performing live, that's usually what makes them gravitate towards you. So I want to do my best to capture that and put it in a song, and that way when they tap into it, they get the closest possible feeling to our live performance.
Definitely. And I feel that. Like, I feel like it's almost like the fulfillment factor of listening to you guys and seeing you guys is the same, but it is a different experience.
Yeah. I mean, live is always going to be better.
There you go.
Live is always going to be better. We cut loose live. We let it all out live.
Awesome.
If anybody has seen us, I go nuts. David is a beast on stage. Same with Ish, Timmy. So you guys want to catch us live.
Definitely. And the final question I wanted to ask you is with the New York City scene, especially nowadays, I feel like it's an important question with everything happening. But like, I felt like Fear is Dead was always like the most eclectic, because like I saw you guys play at metal shows, but then I saw you guys play at like more like ska shows or rap shows or more hip hop oriented shows. I'd imagine that as somebody who's played in multiple audiences, I think it's fair to say that the New York City music scene, even with everything now, is still pretty good, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. We're still trying to find our home, and you and I have talked about this. Like, it's difficult for us because we don't necessarily fit in one place, but we fit in a little everywhere. So we're kind of still looking for a home. But if the energy's right, we can play with anybody. If we're welcomed, if people making us feel welcome, we'll definitely perform with anybody. It just, but we are still looking for a home. Like, I want to say the metal scene is our home, but I gotta say this, like, especially me, I don't run from addressing a topic, and not everybody likes to mix their politics with music. Yeah. Or their social views with music. A lot of people use it to get away. I feel it's a platform that, especially if you have something to say, you should say it. Mm-hmm. You should express yourself in its truest form.
Definitely.
So, that's also one of the reasons that we're kind of still looking for a home, because while some scenes may welcome our energy and our performance, they may not welcome our views or our particular subject of expression.
Do you need a home though? Can you be a nomadic metal band?
Well, I mean, every band needs a home in a sense, like a scene to embrace them in order for them to be successful, or else they're always wandering. Like, I have to say we've been blessed because everywhere we've gone, we've gathered supporters, we've gathered people that we've touched them and they felt what we were saying and they've embraced it. We're very blessed by that. So, but it's like a little here, a little there, a little here. So, come on, everybody want a home.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say, I've seen you guys at metal shows. I've enjoyed it, but one of my favorite performances, as I told you before, was what was that event called again at Brooklyn at the Paper Box?
Brooklyn Wildlife.
Brooklyn Wildlife. That was a fun ass show, and that's, I think, one of the farthest things from a metal show ever. I think there was maybe you and one other like rock heavier band on there, and
I still haven't found out the name of that band. I'm gonna find out.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think anywhere you guys play, you're always welcome, and we always enjoy watching it. It's always a good experience.
I hope so.
So before we go, I want to thank you so much for your time today. Looking forward to hearing New Fear is Dead. Just, I know you had some shout-outs to give at the end of this interview, as well as there anything else you would like to promote?
Just keep a lookout. We're going to be dropping a single soon. We're in the studio right now, Silver Cord recording. We would have got this to you sooner, but COVID. Look out for Rebelmatic. They got a new single out right now, Insult to Injury. They have a lot to say. And I think everybody should take a listen to what they got to say. A couple of other bands, Sonest Escape, Paragnosis, Solemn Visions, Maafa. There's some really dope bands out there in the scene, and you should check them out.
Awesome. Well, Skila, always great to see you. Everybody, Skila of Fear is Dead. Be sure to check out the new single, Assimilation, if you haven't already. And this is Alex from Heavy New York, and we will see you next time.